Hi everybody, it's Diana with Stamping with Di. Welcome to my YouTube channel and this week's Mimeograph Monday with a twist. And I'm going to go back to the retiring catalog this week and do a fun card. And I was back and forth, like when this is a retiring stamp set. It has a punch that goes with it, but the punch is staying, but the stamp set is retiring. And a lot of times this is my business, right? So if I kept every single stamp set, every single punch die that I have gotten in over 25 years, my house would be full. So I do, when things retire, I do go through, and ones that I don't think I'll use again, I do sell. So I kind of had this one in my maybe pile, and after playing with it today, it's going in my keep pile. So because it is super, super cute, and like I said, it still has a punch that coordinates with it. And so I'm going to keep it a while longer. If I get rid of it years down the road, that's fine, but it's just too cute and too fun. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Diana, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm in Santan Valley, Arizona. And it is super hot already. So you will hear my air conditioner in my studio in the background, and I do apologize for that. I have tried doing the videos without it, and it's too hot, so I do apologize for that. So hopefully it doesn't bother you. If you are watching the live premiere, I am as well, and I'm in the chat room. So you want to head over to the chat room, and we can gab over there. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're watching the replay, then leave a comment below. Then YouTube will let me know, and I can reach out to you. Okay, so I think I'm going to get started. So close your eyes just for a second, and I'll get my camera adjusted. So I'm using the main catalog that is retiring. This is what you are ordering out of now, as well as the mini catalog. So you want to make sure you go to my blog over here, and you can get the retired list so you don't miss out on anything. The card I'm going to be doing today is, I have my little recipe in here, is this one right here. So this is in the back of the catalog where it talks about the punches and the bundles, and this is a great place for samples as well. So don't forget about the back for samples. Anyways, okay, so this is the one that I'm going to do because it looked super cute, and I usually grab for my Mimeograph Monday with a twist, unless there's a super hard one requested. Personally, I will grab ones that are cute and a little simple, so that when I do the twist, it's a little easier for me to do the twist. If I pick one that is super hard from the get-go, it's kind of hard to come up with a twist. So this is the one I picked because I said I wanted to play with this stamp set one more time. All right. Here is the recipe. So this is how I found out the colors. You can get these on my blog over here. If you go to the top of my blog where it says main catalogs, click on that, a page will open, and that's where, or I think it says current catalogs. That's where you'll find the catalogs, and then the recipes are right there. This also told me that they used watercolor paper, so I have that. But then they also posted basic white, and I don't see basic white here. I did use it on the inside, so I don't know if that was a boo-boo, because we are doing watercoloring with the Stays-On pad and the ink pads and the water painter. So it definitely does use watercolor paper for that. Alrighty then. And here is the stamp set. So the circle saying, so see what I mean? It has some adorable little pieces for it. Thinking, celebrate, birthday. It just has some fun sayings. So whether you like to color, you like to solid stamp, you've got that. You know, I like to color. This is a beach. This might be the only thing I would have in my stash with kind of beach stuff, because I don't have a lot of that, but it's super cute. And this is what we're using today on the catalog version. And then I picked a different one for the twist. All right. And then it has the coordinating circle punch, which is 2 3/8. This is not retiring. This is staying. Okay. So let me get my pieces over here and my grid sheet. Okay. Now these little strips here, I just cut. They're 1/2 inch. And we have Azure, Balmy, and Daffodil. The card base is Flirty Flamingo. I have a piece of basic white for the inside. And then here is that watercolor paper. So I'm going to stamp the watercolor one so it can have a time to dry. Now it is using the Stays On, so it dries pretty fast, but it doesn't hurt to let it sit for a minute. All right, so Stays On is a little different than the Memento. It looks the same, like it's the same kind of pad. It's a totally different ink. Stays On is water-based. It is waterproof. It is a solvent ink. If you use Stays On with your Stampin' blends, it will bleed. So you do not use Stays On with your blends. You use the Memento pad, which I have put into this pad, but you use the Memento. So just, you know, and you could write right on there, watercoloring only, and then you could write on your Memento blends only. All right, so we're going to use the Stays On. Now, Stays On is not necessarily recommended for photopolymer, but I always like to make sure my Stays On pad is good and juicy, so that helps. If it's too dry, the ink dries quickly, so it can dry. It'll dry on your photopolymer, so you have to move quick. And as it dries on here, it will sometimes tear your paper. So that's why you want to have a nice, juicy Stays On. All right, so don't hesitate stamping it. So I'm going to stamp it really quick on here. And then hold that stamp, because it will sometimes want to stick to the paper, and then you'll drop the block and you'll have a mess. All right, and now we have our Thinking of You. That's going to go right there. So see how it kind of stuck? All right, so I'm going to clean these off the camera, close that pad, so that the next time I use them, they're nice and clean. Now, they are stained, but as long as no ink comes off them, we're good. All right. Then this is what I mean about dropping. So see here, when I did one earlier, when I did the Thinking of You, when I pulled it, I wasn't holding the pad tightly, and I dropped it, or the stamp, and I dropped it, and it stamped it here. So that's what I meant. You could hear it kind of goes, like that when I did the Thinking of You, but I held on to it tight so it didn't fight me and fall. Okay, so we have that done. I'm going to let that dry. While that is drying, we're going to stamp with some Flirty. So we're just going to do tone on tone. And there's a cute little, like a sun ray. It could work with the sun. It could work with the cupcake. The cupcake is kind of bright. It could do whatever. But I'm just going to put it on the back of the card here. So this is Flirty Flamingo. It is tone on tone. All right, so we're just stamping them on here, and I'm just kind of putting them close. And then when I do the next row, I'm going to turn it the other direction. And then it's going to go this way. So kind of in between the ones that are ahead of it. And then flip it again. And then I'm just going to look at the ones that I did first. And then just try to follow them along. If they're not identical, don't worry about it. Okay. just take just a little bit of time, but not too much. But it just puts a little bit of color on that flirty flamingo, so it's not plain. And then one more. And I probably could put one more down there, which I think I might, because it looks a little more pleasing to the eye if you have it going off the card. So then, oops, so your like how I went off the card here, so then your eye just kind of travels, right? And it doesn't have like a frame. If you stop it here, your eye kind of goes and it stops. So by going off the page, just like I did down here, your eye just kind of glides around the card, looking, oh, like, oh, look at all the pieces of the card. All right, so we are going to use, I'm going to set this aside. I want to punch this out. Now I probably did this too far in, so I'm just going to trim that a little bit. So we have our punch, turn it upside down, and then just punch that out. Okay. So we're going to do some watercoloring. So I have my water painter. We're using Flirty Daffodil and Azure. So I just kind of got my ink pads around. I want to grab a little tiny makeup sponge, cotton round, just to kind of control my water there. So we're going to do the sea, or the waves or whatever first. So I'm just going to ink up my water painter and simply color. So what's nice about the water painter is it holds a lot of color, so you don't have to go back and forth, back and forth. All right, a little bit more, and I don't want to put a lot here because this is like the waves. So I want to have them be lighter, and I'm just going to put a little dark. But I want those foamy waves to be kind of whitish. All right, so that looks good. That looks easy. I'm going to give that a squeeze and just rub it on my cotton round. I believe I'm done with the azure. Okay, now we're going to take our daffodil, and I'm going to color the sun. Winston just came in here, and I love when I do the videos because he just looks at me like, who are you talking to? There is no one in the room. All right, so we have our sun, which is the daffodil, but I want to put a little bit coming out of the sun, because that's what they've done in the catalog. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to kind of pull that out of there like that. So then it looks like the rays are coming out of the sun. Doesn't that look like it's really, really like hot that day? All right, so squeeze and clean. And then we're going to grab some Flirty. So I'm going to get a little bit of Flirty. I don't want it to be super, super dark, so I'm diluting it quite a bit. Now this time I'm going to come in this way. So it's going to be darker as it hits first, and then it will get lighter as I go to the daffodil. And this kind of gives it like an ombre look to it. So doesn't that look cool? If you want to have a little bit darker here, you can go back, grab a little bit darker, and you can just add some if you want. But I don't want to get too much color because I think it looks really, really cool the way it is. Okay, let that dry. Let's bring our card over. And I'm just going to put a piece of basic white on the inside, and this way when I go to use the card for real, I have a nice white card to write my note. Okay, so let's open up our card. So I'm going to put my card along the line here on my grid sheet so that I can glue my strips down. So that's going to keep my strips straight, because my eyeball is not as accurate as a ruler. All right, so I'm going to use the green tip glue, and I'm just putting a little bit of glue on my daffodil. And then I'm going to come up to my card, and I'm going to use that line on the grid sheet with the line over here, and then I know I'm straight. And I'm just going to let that dry a little bit. Now I went out a little bit on my glue, so I put a little bit too much. You could also put the glue on here as well. Alright, so I love working with strips of paper because it uses up that cardstock or the designer series paper or whatever you're using that you might have, you know, more of, but it just makes it so easy and so colorful. So this is always fun, and I'm going to make a whole bunch more of these because you always can use these kind of easy cards. Now when I did the twist, I used a different one of the I used one of the different stamps because I need a lot of birthday cards, so I made a birthday card for the twist. Alright, so that should be pretty dry. I'm going to flip that over and then just use the side of the card here to cut my little pieces off. So by cutting them a little bit longer, I'm able to extend them from the card in order to get them straight. Okay, but look how fun that is. Then this simply gets put on with dimensionals, and I'm just going to use the little baby ones. Make sure I'm putting them on the right side here. So I'm going to put 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Winston, please. All right, and this just gets put on here, simple, simple. And just as easy as pie. So there is the catalog version. So cute, right? And so easy. All right, so now let's go to my twist. Now my twist, I wanted to change color. I also wanted to change the stamp, so we're going to make a birthday card. I also wanted to use designer series paper. I love designer series paper, but I loved the whole strip idea, so I didn't stray from that. I am using basic white as my card base, so I'm using the basic white thick. I'm also going to do some coloring with the blends instead, so I will be using the Memento pad instead of the Stays On. So these are the pieces that are going to go in the front, just so I don't use them by mistake. All right, so this little piece is going to go on the inside. I'm going to miss this paper so much, especially certain patterns, and this pattern is one of my favorite. So you want to make sure you grab some of this before it's gone. So the supply list is underneath the video in the description. If you don't see recipes under there, it's because I'm using brand new stuff and I don't have links to share yet. Alright, so this is just going to go on the inside of the card. Okay. And then here's my little pieces that I'm going to use on the outside. But just like before, I want to get my little circle stamped so it can be drawing. Now, like I said, I'm going to do this as a birthday card instead. So I'm picking the Celebrate, excuse my arms, we have Celebrate, and the cute little cupcake. So I'm stamping my Celebrate. And then the cupcake. It's going to go right in the center. Like that. I also, and I'm going to set that aside just so it can dry, I also want to stamp, I'm like looking, oh here, where is my paper? Hold on a second. There we go. I also want to stamp a cupcake on here. And then we'll punch that out like we did before. Okay. And let's get coloring. All right, so we have our little Celebrate, our cute little cupcake. So what I'm going to do is I want to make this. I keep dropping stuff today. I have like the dropsies. All right, hold on a second. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so I am going to take the my light gray granite, and I want to draw a shadow around my cupcake, so it looks like it's popping off the page. And I'm going to go all the way around it, because usually I do one side or the other, but today I'm going to go all the way around. So now it looks like that cupcake has been cut out and there's a shadow. I'm going to do the same thing before I put the lid on. I'm going to take the gray granite and put a little bit of a shadow on the side and a little bit on the bottom of my cupcake liner there. All right, and we'll set that aside. All right, so I'm not going to color the liner because I'm going to cut that liner out that has the little flowers on it, and we're going to glue it on there. So we have like a designer liner kind of thing, make it a real fancy cupcake. I don't know about you, but I love a chocolate cupcake, so I'm just going to use my popular 600 and 400 tone for my chocolate cupcake. And I don't have to be really perfect when I'm coloring it here because it's going to get covered up. So I have it a little bit on the liner, but that's fine. All right, then let's take our 400. I'm just going to put a little bit of 400 on the edges here, so it's a little bit darker, and just a little bit underneath, not all the way, but just a little bit. And that's just going to emphasize how I had the shadow line on the edges. So my edges of my cupcake are darker, and then the center will be like lighter. All right, I'm going to do the light bubble bath because I've got bubble bath in the designer series paper. So I'm just going to color my whole cupcake. cupcake with bubble bath. Okay. And I'm leaving a little bit of a white. Just a little bit of a white area in the center there. Okay, so that was light, and then I'm going to take the dark. Now, this is a little hard to see on camera, just like the pool party is kind of hard to see. So I find that bubble bath is the same kind of way, but I'll hold it up. Hopefully that will help. So see how I left a little bit of white in the center? So hopefully you could see that okay. All right. I'm going to take a little gel pen. Now I know we don't have gel pens. If you do my socials, some of my classes, I always send a gel pen, but I do just grab these off of Amazon. So I'm just going to take a little gel pen and put just some little dots here and there on my cupcake and frosting. Now let's bring our cupcake liner over. So I'm going to make a bunch of these because this is such a quick card. It doesn't have a lot of coloring. And I love to sit and cut out stuff. So I can stamp a bunch of these and have the TV on. And then just sit and cut out all these little liners. So if you have designer series paper, maybe you know someone that, oh, their favorite color is pink or their favorite color is yellow. We have so many designer series paper. I'm sure you could find one, you know, with a favorite color of a friend that has a birthday coming up. And you could do the same thing that I'm doing. Now the secret to doing this is called paper piecing, because you're using paper and you're piecing it on top of an already stamped image. Now that's different than paper piercing. Paper piercing is when you punch holes in your cardstock. So this is called paper piecing. It kind of reminds me of paper dolls, because you would dress your dolls, right, with paper. All right, so there we've got our cute little cupcake liner. So look how fun that is. Doesn't that look so adorable? All right, now I know I'm gluing this right over top of here. So instead of putting glue here, because then it's kind of mucky on my fingers, I'm going to put my glue here. And then I just have to drop my cupcake liner right on top of that. So cute. Now we have silver paper, we have other foils, and that would look adorable too, right? That you would have like a foil, you know, but look how cute that is with that little flowery cuteness. All right, I'm going to also put a little Wink of Stella on my cupcake as well, so that that frosting has kind of a shine to it. All right, so let's let that dry a little bit. Let's bring our card over. Now I have a couple layers, so this card is pretty white, like I have a lot of white space, and I love how it turned out. So I'm going to take, since I'm doing basic white on basic white, I'm going to use the glue dots to put this piece on, because I'm going to pop up the other piece with dimensionals, so I don't want it to be too high of a card, so that when I'm mailing it, it's not too bulky. Okay, so I don't think I need this anymore. Let me take this off of here. Oh no, I do, because I have to glue my strips. Okay, I'm sorry. So you still have the grid sheet to look at for a little bit. All right. So that goes on there, so it has a little bit of a border. but you can see there's a little shadow because you have those glue dots back there. Okay, so just like before, where I used my grid sheet, so I'm using my grid sheet so I can glue my strips on. Okay, so I'm gonna do my strip. Now these are a little thinner and a little bit more delicate than the cardstock. So just watch when you're gluing them, because sometimes they'll go bloop and then you'll get glue in the wrong spot. So just kind of, because I really cut that kind of long. Alright, so then this, we'll just do the same thing as we did before and just button them up. I'm just basically sliding it up against the next one. So it just kind of snuggles in next to it. And then now this is from the, not the in colors, but the 6x6 pads of paper. That's where I got the polka dots. It didn't come from this pack. But I wanted some more bubble bath. And I just loved the little polka dots. Alright. So that should be good and dry. See how nice. I should have used my silicone mat, but that's alright. Okay, so we have, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just trimming the little ends. And then I'll get rid of my grid sheet. So you don't have to keep looking at that. Alright. So this, I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. So I need my big dimensionals. So, which are you liking? And it's never, I never try to do one better. I just always, like I always say, I just like to do one more my taste or whatever. But I really am loving this layout with the fun little strips of paper. So there is that. And then we'll bring our little cupcake over. Now what's nice with this, I can see through this because this is the basic white where we color with the blend, so it bleeds through what you want it to do. So I can tell where I need to put my dimensionals on that one. Okay. Now I didn't put any bling or anything. I mean, you totally could, but I just put that Winkestella on there so it makes it shiny. We have so much going on with the designer series paper colors. I don't necessarily think it needs any bling. You, like I said, you could. All right, so here is one I did earlier, and I did, let me see if I can pick it up. All right, so I did this one a little earlier. So this time I used the stripes. So this one has the flower. This one has the stripes. I also stamped it on the polka dot as well, but I didn't think I could see the polka dots as well. So I stuck with these two. And then, so this one is kind of girly, right, with the pink. So I thought, well, what happens if you're doing one for a guy? So here's one that is a little more masculine, or like a kid. And then I used the gingham paper and some more of the colors that are retiring. All right, so let me show you. So here's the catalog version. And then here's the one I did. You know, I always do one. I usually do one ahead of time. So there's the catalog version. And then here are, you know, the twists. But it's basically the same card. So what do you think? It's super crooked, isn't it? All right. So I'm going to make a bunch more. I'm going to do a bunch with designer series paper because, like I said, I have a lot of designer series paper. Alright, let's hang on a minute. There we go. This is a great use of the designer series paper. I love mixing and matching them. And like I said, you want to make sure, like, if you're going to do the paper piecing. Now, I could have just colored the cupcake liner without, you know, stamping it on the designer series paper, and that would be totally fine. But I love how it kind of like pulls from those little strips. But if you do the designer series paper, you have to pick one that has kind of small pictures, so that you can see how it looks. But I love how they all turned out. All right, so I will see you tomorrow for my Teach Me Tuesdays, episode 216. And I'm going to have some more fun with that layers. I can't remember now what it's called, but the masking that I did with the masks last week. I'm going to have some more fun with it because I am just in love with that bundle. So make sure you come back tomorrow. That will be at 3 o'clock, arrows at a time, same channel. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.